guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah Rae Vargas, in case you didn't know, and today we're gonna have a little discussion on our hands here. Yeah, these hands right here. So I asked you guys recently if you would be interested in seeing something a little bit more in-depth and something with some transparency about basically this industry and sponsorships and working with companies and how that kind of stuff goes. Can you guys see this string? Okay. And many of you seemed very interested, and I think eventually this could actually be fleshed out into like maybe a reoccurring series because there is so much to cover. Today we're going to talk about kind of a broader view of sponsorships and how those happen, kind of what goes into it on like the creator's end, on the business end. I'll tell you kind of how it goes for me because I've watched a lot of videos like this from other creators, from people that I'm actually even you know, friendly with basically online. And it's so interesting to see everyone's perspective because things are definitely very different from like one person to the next. And so although someone's story may not really reflect yours and what you might go through, someone else's might. So I thought I would jump into the ring here and offer you guys my perspective on things. But just to give you a little bit of background on me, if you don't know who I am, or you know, if you haven't been around very long on this channel, I started blogging on a website, ravingsbyrae.com. Go to it if you want to. I've updated it recently. But I started blogging when I was pregnant with my daughter because my sister was a blogger. She still is. She still has a YouTube channel and all that. And she kind of showed me the ropes at the time. And this was in 2010, I believe. So yeah, I was like, when I was pregnant, I made my very first video when I was pregnant. My daughter was born in 2010. So it's been 9 years. And definitely learned a few things along the way, but I went from blogging for a couple of years. So blogging was my main income for a long time, and I never had to get to a point where I like had to quit my job for, you know, like I have a lot of people that ask like, when did you decide that this was like a viable enough income for you to leave your regular job to decide to focus on this full time? I didn't have that because when I was 21, I was like an office manager or whatever. I had many jobs at that point. But I was pregnant. I went into preterm labor. I ended up on bed rest for like a month because I was, I don't know, I was like 7 months pregnant. And anyway, I basically forcibly kind of had to quit my job. So as soon as I had my daughter, I ended up having my son 9 months later. It's a long story. I did a whole video on it. But anyway, working a regular job was no longer part of my life. So once I kind of settled into motherhood, I jumped back into my blogging because I started in 2010, but it never really took off. It wasn't something I really focused on. And being consistent and consistently putting out content is going to be pretty much your best bet in getting ahead and growing, okay? So I didn't do that initially, but eventually I came back and I was like, I'm gonna be a food blogger. I'm gonna be a mommy blogger. I'm gonna talk about my weekend. I'm gonna talk about my kids' clothes. I'm gonna talk about how to make Stouffer's lasagna. I'm gonna talk about everything. Like, and I didn't have one particular niche. And at the time, that was really something that was pushed heavily. Like, you need to have an angle. Are you the budget mama? Are you the vegan mama? Are you the this? And I was like, no, I am many things. And if you corner me, I'm not gonna do well. And I knew that of myself. And so I had a lot of people in the beginning telling me like, well, it's just not gonna work because people are not gonna know what to come to you for, right? And I'm like, I would like to think that not only I have, you know, a vast variety of things that I'm into and that I am capable of doing and interested in, but so do you. So why wouldn't you want to come to the same person kind of for one perspective on different things, basically? So I kind of wrote it out. Write out whatever it is that feels right to you, okay? And don't let anyone else tell you, like, this is what you gotta do. Even me. Don't let me tell you this is what you gotta do. I'm just telling you this is what worked for me in terms of what I, you know, deemed to be like working well basically, or becoming successful or whatever you want you're doing. So from there I started working with a company called Collective Bias. So this was like not that deep into my blogging career. I was posting whatever. I was posting YouTube recaps, my 5 favorite videos of the week. They were getting very little traction. And I can tell you guys how I built my website, because I have always been, it's always been a one-man show over here. Like it's always been a one-man show over here. I have briefly, for a short amount of time, like included someone else, and it's always gone terribly wrong. And again, I could tell you guys all the dirty little secrets there and how much money everything cost me and how terrible it was and who to look out for when you're looking for help, managers, photographers, assistants, all that. So anyway, I had a lot of like, it just went bad. So it's always pretty much been a one-man show over here because the only person I can trust to do things the way that I want them done is me. So I was doing things and as best as I could basically, and I was posting content every few days. I was posting something new on my blog, whether it be a recipe or a recap of my day or whatever. And you can scroll all the way back to like 2012 or something on my blog and you can read all the terrible stuff that I wrote. And I started working with a company called Collective Bias. So this was like one of those companies that you could go and you could apply for a job and you could say like, this is what I would do to promote your cat food or whatever. And they'd be like, okay, well, we can pay you $150 if you do a blog post and 2 Instagram posts. And this was before stories or any of that. And post on Twitter and post on Facebook and also like just give us a little chunk of your soul for $150. And I'm like, hell yeah, girl. This is how I would talk about your cat food. Meanwhile, I don't even have a cat. But what was great about it was that you always had to create this really fun like story. You had to create a story, but you always had guidelines. And so I would say that that stepping stone for me, doing it through blogging and doing Collective Bias or Social Fabric, whatever they go by now. This company still exists. They were a really great asset for me in the beginning. But having like pages and pages and pages of guidelines and contracts, and you have to use this hashtag and you have to do this just perfectly. And this was before Instagram allowed you to edit things. Like, oh my gosh, if you got it wrong, you had to repost. How embarrassing. So I got really good at reading through everything. And eventually you kind of pick up like, this is normal. Okay, duh, I gotta put ad on it. Duh, that's something I know anyway. You know what I mean? I gotta put ad into the description of my Instagram post, for instance. Okay, that's something I know, that's something I'm gonna like recognize, but then you'll have companies that'll be like, not only do you have to put ad, hashtag ad, you have to put like, hashtag I wanted that away, hashtag Backstreet Boys, hashtag this, that, and then I'm like, whoa, that I'm not gonna remember when it actually comes time to post. So that's the kind of stuff that I would like write down or highlight or what have you. And when I'm doing my work, when I'm doing my sponsored work, you guys, I am fully aware of my contract always. Now, contracts, right? So that's where I started, was with the blogging and with Collective Bias and with Social Fabric. And I went to conferences and I was going through college and I graduated and I continued going, you know, and learning more about like communications and marketing and kind of picking up knowledge along the way, and then going to blogging conferences, which were that was hard for me. Like coming up with like a $300 ticket. Like, I mean, I was working my ass off. I was applying for scholarships through them. I made up a whole little rap about how I wanted to go to this conference, and I sure did win that little competition and get myself a little ticket to Arkansas and get a free, you know, room that I had to share with other people or whatever. But like, dude, I was grinding it out to get the knowledge, because the knowledge is what's important. And now there's so many people on YouTube that are like open and happy to discuss things, but there's still something about going like physically to a conference or something to network, or going to just events at this point and networking. Like that's always going to be really important. So I did that. I eventually started speaking and stuff. I've always loved speaking. I think eventually that'll be something I go into, but I gained a lot of knowledge and stuff that way. And Collective Bias started doing videos one time, and I was like, oh, look at this. $500 if I do this video. $500? $500? What? Like, once I saw that was even an option, I was like, oh yes, let's try this. So I started making my YouTube videos from there. I had made some other ones, and it wasn't just, I didn't just do it for sponsorships. I ended up really loving YouTube. It was a place where I could like be just myself and kind of tell you guys about who I am and what I've been through. And while I'm working through things, and while I'm getting over, you know, a terrible relationship or becoming a single mom, or going through my body issues and, you know, discussing like sexuality and relationships and stuff, like while I was going through all that and learning and growing from it on my own, I felt like I was doing it with you guys too. And so that's where like my passion for YouTube came from. But the business side of YouTube, it was just easier than blogging. So I still know a lot of people that are fashion bloggers, right? And they do a lot of blogging, and I still do some blogging here and there, but let me tell you, if you're looking for a paycheck, baby girl, YouTube is gonna be quicker to give it to you. I think it's good to have that place, because you always wanna have a platform that you own. So I own ravingsbyrae.com, I own SarahRaeBookings.com, which I have since shut down, but I'll probably reopen it at some point. But you know, I own those platforms. Like those are mine. And the content there is mine, and no one can go and take it away from me. They can't. Like, I own all of that, it's mine. I don't own YouTube. YouTube could be like, you know what, Sarah? I'm sick of you. Bye. And that's it. I'm gone. I'm gone forever. That's it. There goes my income. There go all my contracts, or my future contracts are all like null and void. My prior contracts that say I have to have my videos up for a year or 2 years or whatever, like boop. Oh, girl, we're gonna need that check back. You know what I mean? Basically, you need a place that you can call home, that you can own. But the beauty of YouTube is that you do not have to invite people over to your YouTube. I used to always use this analogy when I was doing conferences and stuff. When you have a blog, you have to tell people to go to your blog. You know what I mean? You have to be like, yes, come to ravingsbyrae.com and see my outfit posts and see how cute I look and where I got all my stuff, right? Okay, you have to be intriguing. You have to get people to want to type in your address. With YouTube, that's not the case. You go to youtube.com on your own. You open the YouTube app on your own. I'm in YouTube's house, right? I'm already at the party. So if you walk in and you're like, who should I hang out with today? And YouTube's like, hang out with Sarah, recommended video. You're gonna be like, psh, I'm gonna hang out with Sarah. This looks like something I wanna, talk about. Oh, look at her outfit. I wanna find out where that's from. YouTube introduces us. With my blog, you're never just gonna show up to my blog's party. That's never, no one is just hanging out there. Trust me, I know, right? So YouTube has that benefit, but again, it's YouTube's world and I'm just living in it. And they change the rules and they change the way you get paid and everything else, and I just roll with it. I'm not really one to like, YouTube AdSense, blah, 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 I need a Patreon. Like, that's not me. No shade to whoever does do that, because it's effective. Like I said, everyone has different ways of doing things, but that's not the way I do things. Okay, so that's basically our background. Now I'm here, I've been doing this for many, many years. I've been doing sponsorships since like 2012 or so. Like I said, I've done them exclusively for my blog, exclusively for my YouTube channels, both this channel and my family vlogging channel, along with exclusive stuff just for my Facebook, just for my Twitter, just for my Instagram. Back in the day, I did way more like stuff that I even did some stuff for Snapchat before Instagram stories was like really big. Oh, P.S. I got this bodysuit at Aerie. It's so cute. So a lot of you are asking like, how can you get noticed by a brand? How can you get sponsored by a brand? And I'll say that my one trick, okay, and I used to do this a lot more, especially in the beginning. Full disclosure, these days, I just don't approach brands ever. Ever. I never approach a brand, ever, ever, ever. I am fully playing offense, basically. Wait a second, defense? Oh, see, girl, you're trying to use an analogy. You don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Oh, defense, yes. Okay, I'm fully playing defense here. I only respond to people that approach me first, just because I have a very tight and heavy schedule, and I feel like I don't even have the time to reach out. Although I do not, reaching out's a great idea. Like, closed mouths do not get fed, basically. If I'm sitting here and I'm like, damn, I really wish Canon, right? My camera is a Canon, right? I really wish Canon would send me a camera. There's a very low likelihood that Canon is just gonna send me a camera just for funsies, because I don't talk about Canon, I don't talk about photography, I don't talk about videography, right? But if I shoot my shot towards Canon and say, hey, would love to discuss your new vlogging camera, what's up? Let's talk about it, right? Then they might give me something. Then I might be on their radar, right? And you can find PR emails online. These days especially, you can reach out through Instagram, through DMs or whatever. But my favorite way to get noticed, to get someone to come and say hi to me, to pay me that first compliment, is by using the product, is by shopping at that store, what have you. So these days I do a lot of fashion. So let's say I really want Good American to notice me, right? I really want the Good American jean brand to notice me, to know who I am, to put me on their PR list, to sponsor my videos, what have you. So instead of like shooting my shot to Good American, right, and like, hi, I really love your pants, but they're like $400, and so I'm not gonna buy them. So like, instead of doing that, I'm gonna go to Nordstrom or wherever. I'm gonna buy these pants. I'm going to invest in my company. And don't think I started by doing this. I started by doing it at Forever 21, talking those mother tags and taking it back, okay, to get Forever 21's attention. I did what I had to do on my way up. But now, I'll go to Nordstrom. Or is it Nordstrom? Lord and Taylor, I forget. But I'll go there, I'll buy 4 or 5 pairs of the pants, I'll do a video about them, not sponsored or anything like that. I'll give them my real honest feedback, and then you know who pops up in my email a week or 2 weeks, or sometimes 3 weeks or a month or 3 months later? that exact brand, okay? It happens with all these straight size retailers. Like when I decided to create the Will It Fit series, where I went to straight size retailers and I tried on their clothes and I let you know if a plus size girl like myself could fit into their clothing, guess who started knocking down my door? And guess who pays really well compared to plus size people? Straight size retailers are great, 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 okay? And I felt like the plus size market had been so saturated, and I had worked with so many companies, and I just wasn't excited about working with these companies anymore. But I didn't want to pop up and be like, hey Hollister, could you please sponsor a video? You know what I mean? You know, hey Express, could you please? No. But they popped up in my email after they were like, oh, we see you've been talking about us. And even the ones where I'm like, this is trash, you know what I mean? Like, even when I don't go out of my way to bash a company, but I will go out of my way to be brutally honest about a company. And even the companies, if you talk good, bad, not, you know, whatever, neutral, they will still approach you because now they see you, because you've popped up, because there's a new video on Express. And now guess who got like Express sponsored videos after that? This guy. Oh, I talk about American Eagle all the time. Guess who has like a contract with Aerie right now? This guy. Like, it's one thing to manifest what you want in terms of thinking about it and talking about it, right? But I think it's another thing to actually take a step and say, not only do I want this, not only do I want to work with Express, I'm gonna work with Express. Are they gonna pay me? Maybe not right now, but sometimes you have to set things in motion on your own and then it'll come back to you. It doesn't happen every single time and it's not foolproof, but it is a great way that I have seen, at least, has worked really like wonderfully for me in my life. But only do it if it means something to you. Like, I'm not all of a sudden gonna start doing camera reviews because I want Canon to send me a camera. This is just for funsies. I don't really care if Canon sends me a camera. I love their cameras, I'm gonna buy them anyway. But I'm saying I'm not gonna all of a sudden start doing camera reviews because I want a free camera. That's not worth it to me. You need to invest your time, your money, your energy into something that makes sense for you and for your audience, right? A lot of other people wanted to know, this is a terrible angle too. They want to know if I have to mention when a video is sponsored. YouTube and sponsored videos and sponsored Instagram posts and like influencer marketing is still kind of like the wild, wild west, because all the laws and everything haven't necessarily been totally set into place for everyone across the board. It's not just like, I don't know, like not every single thing is really defined, and I think there's some gray area. So when you guys ask like, do you have to tell people when your video is sponsored? I always tell people when my video is sponsored. Some brands request that you do it within the first 10 seconds and that you add like a hashtag somewhere. Other people request that you leave it on there. I think in the UK I see especially a lot of people putting ad in the video title. I have never been asked to do that. In fact, I don't think that I would, meaning I don't think I would take a job that requires that of you. And you get to see these things. All of this stuff is in a contract before you actually agree to do something. All of these things would be in a contract. And negotiating has become a lot easier for me. I am still very much an emotional negotiator though. I know what I can get basically. So I know what I can get. So let's say, just for instance, right? Let's say that I know that on a fashion video, I can get a company to give me like $10,000 to mention their brand, maybe be like the first brand mentioned in a video or something. But you guys know I tend to do like one brand videos. That's just my preference. I don't necessarily have to do it that way. But let's say I know I can get $10,000 for that. But let's say a company comes up to me and I know that they're not, you know, they're not a big company. I know they're not gonna have a big market or big budget, but I know that my audience is gonna love their clothes, and I know that they're gonna give me like a bomb code to give you guys. I know that they're gonna do what they can to make me happy. I'm you know, emotional, like I said, and I've met them before, whatever. I would totally give them like literally half my rate and be like, don't even trip, you know what I mean? Like, let's just do this because this is gonna be good for me and you. It's gonna be good for my audience. They're gonna love your products. Like, you know, they're gonna love your clothing just like I love your clothing, and I don't need to make a bunch of money. Like, money is not my motivation. It has never been my motivation. So long as I get my nut, basically like the amount that I need to cover my life, to cover my savings, to cover, you know, the money that's getting taken out of my account, to cover my taxes, what have you. Like, so long as I'm getting what I need, if I can do something beyond that to help someone else out in whatever little way, like, oh, you're helping them by slashing your rate, well, like, yeah, man, I am helping that company, because you don't know how influential someone can actually be to a brand. There are times where I have made a video and I have mentioned a certain brand or a certain item. Not only will that item, like, let's say, sell out, right? And not just me, obviously. I feel like I'm on such a low scale. I feel like I'm on a low scale of YouTube as far as my influence goes. But think about anyone that is like super hot, super trendy, super everything, right? Like, those people mention something, they're going to be so incredibly beneficial to that brand or product that they're talking about. Like, we have a different kind of influence than like a celebrity or something has, right? So I can do a video on a brand and that brand can sell $50,000 worth of product that day, right? You guys will, or that weekend or whatever, right? Like, depending on what it is, like, they will sell hella stuff. And it's not just about how much they sell, because let's say a brand paid me 10 grand, right? Now let's say I only sold $5,000 worth of product for them, basically. Like, my code only sold that much. Now, beyond that, not everyone uses the code, not everyone uses the link, not everyone does it within that like 2 to 3 day time frame that they may be monitoring it, whatever. Some people are gonna do it a month, a week later, whatever. But those people that spent $5,000, right? So let's say that was, I don't know, 300 or 400 people, let's say, right? They spent this money. Now, of those 300 or 400 people, 200 might come back and do it again. And then another 100 might come back and do it again. And then, like I said, more are trickling in. It's not just about how much can you sell in a video. So don't sell yourself short. If you feel like, oh my gosh, I can only sell, you know, I don't think that I can get more than 50 people to buy something, right? Don't think then like, okay, well, their product is $20, so times 50 people, like, I should only be charging, you know, that exact amount of money. Like, no. Don't forget, you are getting them new customers. Obtaining a new customer, that's just part of your business, and it's gonna cost you money to get a new customer if you are in business, right? So what you are doing is you are helping to give them brand exposure. So it's not like I sold this much, I should get this much, right? And of course, there's always commission and stuff that you can work into your contracts as well. I do have certain brands that I will incorporate commission, especially smaller brands. So little nugget of info here, right? If a brand is not necessarily willing to pay you your rate. So again, let's just work with even numbers, right? You know, say your rate is $1,000, right? And the brand is like, oh, we can't do $1,000. We can do, you know, $500 at most. You say, okay, so that's fine. Let's do $500 plus I want, you know, depending on what you're willing to ask for, you know, I want a 5 to 20% commission on a code, so they can give you a specific code so you can track it that way, on a link so that people have to go through a specific link. And you can say, I want 5, 10, 15, 20% of whatever happens from that. So if you know that you can have that, you know, impact and you can make money that way, then go for it, baby. And some places will just give you straight up money. Like, okay, how about every time you get someone to sign up, or every time you get someone to buy something, we'll give you $15. We'll give you $75. That especially happens with subscription things, like places like, what comes to mind? Like Gwenny B, like, these are not what my contracts look like. I'm not like, it would be a breach of my contract right now for me to tell you exactly how everything happens with me. But I can tell you in past experience, like, that this is kind of the framework for it. So you can ask for stuff like that. Like, don't necessarily be shied away when someone can't pay what you think your rate should be. And your rate is fully determined by you. A lot of people are like, well, you have 500,000 subscribers, so you should ask for $5,000. You have 50,000 subscribers, you should ask for $500. No, don't let these companies believe, okay, that the subscriber count is what matters. The subscriber count does not matter. I have like 1 million subscribers. Doesn't mean 1 million people watch my videos. There are people that have 200,000 subscribers that will regularly get more views than me, right? So, like, how do you gauge the impact? Should I get paid based on my subscribers, or should I get paid based on my impact, based on my influence? My power to influence. My power to influence very much lies in fashion, in some beauty, but like, my heavy hitter is fashion. So if you're a fashion brand, okay, I am someone that's gonna be a heavier hitter than someone that, let's say, has 5 million subscribers, but they only do a fashion video when someone pays them to do it, right? I am going to be able to create more of an impact most likely than someone like that. So you can't just go based off a subscriber count. And I've always thought that was a terrible rule of thumb. I say you figure out how much you can get from a company. Don't be afraid, one, to say no, and two, to be told no. I've had a lot of instances where there's a brand or a company that you guys, I want to work with them so bad. I want to add them to my life so bad. Maybe less now, because I'm like so just tired and I'm like working so much. But like before, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like what if Torrid would work with me and they would pay me to do a video, right? Okay, well, just full transparency here, Torrid was just not paying enough. And as much as I wanted to work with them, I was like, you are not about to not about to happen. I'm not about to take this little piddly stuff when I know damn well that you could work it into your budget if you really wanted to, because you can work with a bunch of people or you can work with one person who happens to make every damn Torrid video, like not every video about Torrid, you know what I mean? Like my subscribers were buying Torrid like nobody's business, and I had the affiliate links to prove it, right? So I knew that when that brand approached me, I could be like, hey, look at what I can do. Pay me my rate. It's not like I was asking for astronomical money, right? It was like, I think at the time, it was really just, it was a couple $1,000s. And I was like, pay me my rate, please, pay me my rate. You know what I mean? That's not how I sounded in an email. I'm like, so my fee is blah-de-da-de-da. Thank you, best, comma, Sarah. Send, right? So like, I wanted my rate so bad. And so there have been different companies where, you know, at the time that they approached me, they just were not willing to do it. And they would come back and they would come back and they would come back. I do believe eventually I worked with Torrid, but I didn't do it in the capacity that I would have, like, I don't think I've ever done a sponsored Torrid video. I think I've only done Instagram stuff for them, which is not where I'm a heavy hitter for them, you know what I mean? And these days I'm probably not really so much anymore, just because I don't focus on them very often. But back then, like my audience was heavy on Torrid. Like you guys loved it, you were asking for it. I knew that I had some kind of like power of influence in that particular little sector, and they weren't willing to pay it, so I never did it. Like, so don't be afraid to say no, and don't be afraid for another company to say no, because you know what happens is someone else swoops in. Like this year I had to say no to a 6-figure contract that just didn't feel right for me anymore. And literally within hours, I had a different company that felt so much better. It just made so much more sense. The growth was like, it's like, there's no cap basically. And I was like, oh my gosh, right? Like, yes, I'll take this one. I mean, I thought about it a lot, but they swooped in with their own 6-figure contract. And I was like, hell yeah, boy. Like you can't be afraid to say no. And you have to do what is right for you and your channel. You absolutely have to do what feels right to you. So there are plenty of sponsorships that I'll never take. And I'll never take them again, I should say, because like I said, I have made a lot of missteps. There's this one time that I did apps. Listen, apps will pay you so much money. So when you see people talking about apps, like an app will give you so much money because there's so much money in tech. Like, and they don't care who talks about them. Everybody has a phone. Everybody's got apps on their phone, right? They don't really care who talks about, you know, Candy Crush or whatever. All of these little like games and stuff, they'll pay you mad money. They barely have any requirements. Some people require the world of you. Some people don't. Some people are so hella laid back. It's dope. They don't even want to see the video before you put it up. They don't even care. Like they really don't even care, right? Or, well, for some of them, I've proven myself enough times that they don't care. But other people, like, they need to see the stories a week, 2 weeks before they post. Like, oh my gosh, this is so dry. And then some companies just don't get it. They don't get it. There is a certain company that I still work with that asks me for a very specific photo. I post it, and it never gets traction, and it's just not that good, but it is exactly what they ask for, and it is spelled out in the contract. They literally give you photos to follow, and I'm like, this isn't working, but you just can't tell them that because they have it in their mind. Some people just don't have the right people on their team, I feel like. So I do my best to offer better advice. Somebody will be like, hey, could you please do a video where you're trying on like these 3 items and you make it into like a lookbook, and then can you just post that and we'll give you a bunch of money? And I'm like, how about you give me a bunch of items, okay, and you can keep some of the damn money if you want, and how about I make it into a haul video, which is the kind of video that people watch on my channel. How about we do what is working here and I can make this work for you instead of you trying to make what you think works happen for me. Because I know you guys, right? I know my audience. I understand it. My audience has a heartbeat and I hear it, okay? I listen to it. I feel it. I know my girl, basically. A company coming in doesn't know my girl. So sometimes you're gonna have companies that don't want to listen to you and they don't want to hear like, hey, I know this is what you think I should do, but what if I do what I normally do, but I incorporate you like in an organic kind of natural way and it works like 1,000 times better? What if we try it my way because you came to me because I know what I'm doing here in my house, right? That's why you came over. You like what's happening here. So how about instead of bringing all your stuff and all your ideas here, you let me have my ideas and I just pluck that one little thing that I need from you. You know what I mean? Companies are gonna fight you. Don't be afraid to fight back, okay? Like I said, your biggest thing is you cannot be afraid to say no. You can't be afraid for someone to say no to you. Ultimately, I mean, they're just emails, they're just phone calls. It's just money at the end of the day. Like, you are not gonna get blackballed if you just do what you are supposed to do. So read your contracts, read them so freaking well before you sign them. Like, there'll be all this little nugget of like, I'll be like, what is that little nugget of information there? And I will highlight and I will copy and I will paste. It's gonna be a no for me, dog. You're gonna have to take that sentence out before I do this. Oh, well, we can't take that sentence out. Oh, well, I know that we've been negotiating for 3 months, but if that's a deal breaker for you, it's a deal breaker for me. Peace, okay? Like, I'm super duper professional when I talk to people. Don't get me wrong, but like at the end of the day, this is your image, right? This is my image. So if I choose to do things that are gonna look bad, ultimately, it may not reflect in that video. I might still get my paycheck and everything, but ultimately, my audience is not gonna like me anymore. Like, people are not gonna wanna see me anymore. People are not gonna trust me anymore. So I know that some people think I do like heavy sponsorships, and sometimes, frankly, I do because I have terrible planning. I have tried so hard this year. March, I messed it up heavy. So for April, I'm just not doing sponsorships basically. Because I like overdid March because everyone's like, let's get everything done, right? And this tends to happen in November, December as well. So sometimes I do overdo it, but for me, so long as everything feels organic and natural and I'm excited about it, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna talk about it if I'm excited about it anyway. Like I did a Pretty Little Thing video. It wasn't sponsored. Pretty Little Thing would love to sponsor a video. They have before, like, and I think if I did the next one and the next one was sponsored, there's really not much of a difference for me because I'm gonna feel the same way about the clothes. I'm gonna talk about the clothes. If the clothes are too big, they're too big. If they're too tight, they're too tight. If it was $90, it's $90, you know what I mean? The price of the clothes doesn't change based on whether or not I'm getting paid. But what changes is that now I have a person lurking over me, but a paycheck lurking over them. You know what I mean? So I just try to normally have a good balance, and that balance is based on what I think is a good balance. I have never been like an AdSense YouTuber. I get millions of views monthly, and because of the nature of the content on my channel, because I've had a lot of content that had to do with adult themes, a lot of things relating to sex and stuff like that, I have never gotten paid well on this channel. And by paid well, I mean there are people that probably have 1/5 of the views that I have and they make more money than I do, and including myself. My vlog channel smashes this channel when it comes to AdSense. My kids channel smashes this channel when it comes to AdSense. And so this channel just, I had to make it work. I had to figure it out. I don't make enough money on AdSense to pay all my bills. And I have millions of views every month. You know what I mean? I think this channel has over 100 million views. And I I couldn't survive on AdSense alone. Like that would not cover my bills and the amount of money that it takes to put into a channel like this. I know that this was like so much information and I really just wanted to be able to like be in depth on stuff, but I felt like this was maybe a good kind of overview. And if you guys have questions, which I'm sure now you're gonna have more questions, I think I would absolutely love to turn this into a series. This is honestly exciting. Like I haven't felt this excited sitting in front of the camera just talking in I don't know how long. Like can you feel it? Cause I'm giddy. I'm busting. I'm busting, Jerry. I'm busting. Yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it did give you some information. I know it's super heavy. I know it's like a dense video. I hope that you learned something, but this was really just the kicking off point. I wanted you to get a feel for who I am, where I come from, and kind of my experience on things. The content that you create is going to have a large impact on what kind of brands want to work with you. Like I said, my rates vary heavily. Like literally today, I have a video that is due that I will get paid exactly like half of what this other video is, and the one that is paying half as much as this other one, this one is requiring even more of me. But I just love the company. I just love like our interactions. I love just everything. I love our history. Like those things mean something to me, and like I said, I'm an emotional person and I work based on emotions, and I know that a lot of people are gonna tell you not to do that, but I can only be who I am, and I have managed to create a successful, sustainable business and a viable income for me and my whole family, okay? And I can help other people as well. I can bring on other people. I can pay my own family members to do things for me, and it helps me out and it helps them out. Like it has definitely created an income where I'm able to give and be generous to people I know and people I don't know, and that is something that is super duper important to me. So I have to say like that, even though I don't always take the traditional route and I don't do maybe what typically a business book or a person or whatever would tell you to do, you can find success however you design it, basically. You can do whatever you want to do, and so long as it feels good to you and you're putting out good, positive stuff, it's gonna come back to you. It's gonna come back to you just like that. And I fully, truly, honestly believe that. So if you guys have any questions, by all means, leave them down below. I'll do my best to answer some questions in the comments. Also, if you want anything specific, I would absolutely love to kind of continue the conversation, and maybe make some more videos. I don't know if I'll have a title or anything for this. It's real jazzy, but yeah, anything on the business end, from you know, what to look for, red flags and contracts. If you want to hear story times about like how things went bad for me, or anything like that, then absolutely let me know. Give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more like this, and yeah, subscribe if you want to see more of them. But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I had a really wonderful time filming it, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!